come with questions.
Very well. What is it that drives you? I had wondered if... But your powers are strong indeed.
Now is not the time to speak of this. Wait until you have more of the galaxy within you, and we shall speak again.
Every step on our journey shall bring with it discoveries. With persistence, you shall grow in the Force. And for every planet we reach, all that we touch with our presence, you shall grow, for you will have no choice.
Ask, and I will answer.
Atris herself is not as familiar to me as perhaps she should be. Yet I feel I know her, yes. Because Atris's path is one I walked long ago, and it is a chapter of my life that has been read and closed. She has taken the first steps, I think. We shall see. Surely you felt the righteous anger, the spoken judgments, the lack of forgiveness.
I was a historian once, gathering the relics of the Jedi, learning the ancient mysteries. Always there were more questions.
One quickly learns that the Jedi Code does not give all the answers. If you are to truly understand, then you will need the contrast, not adherence to a single idea. That is why Atris and the others blamed me, sentenced me. They believed me responsible for Revan's fall. I do not wish to speak of this any longer.
Ask, and I will answer.
Perhaps I think it is fair to say that few did. Revan had a mother and father, parents, ancestors, like all Jedi do. And when he awakened to his potential, I was there to see it. But where he was born, where he came from, I do not know, any more than I know where he walks now. Some said that Revan was born in the outer regions, beyond the Rim, and that's what called to him during the Mandalorian Wars. And after, it was the call of home. I know more, but it may not be enough for the answers you seek. Fall? Already you presume much. You were there at Malachor. Revan's choices were always his own. It was not teaching or circumstance or example, it was him. Is that what he was? Or was he always true to himself, no matter what personality he wore? And there is something that the Council may never understand, that perhaps Revan never fell. The difference between a fall and a sacrifice is sometimes difficult, but I feel that Revan understood that difference more than anyone knew. The galaxy would have fallen if Revan had not gone to war. Perhaps he became the Dark Lord out of necessity, to prevent a greater evil. I do not believe the Jedi Council changed Revan as they claimed. They merely stripped away the surface and allowed the true self to emerge again, someone who was willing to wage war to save others. But that is my belief, since I knew Revan from long ago, as a master knows their apprentice. He came to me, yes, both before and after, before Revan knew himself. And after, in the times when Revan was coming to his own and learning he was more than he had been told. At one time, Revan was my Padawan, in times past, long ago. But Revan, when he had learned all he could, had other masters, that fool Jar and other Jedi on other planets. He learned from each, but in the end, he turned back to me. When he realized there was nothing more to be learned from the Jedi, except how one could leave them forever. Revan was power. It was like staring into the heart of the Force. Even then you could see the Jedi he would slay etched on his soul. You are different. When I look at you, it is like staring at the death of the Force. I know more, but it may not be enough for the answers you seek. Ask, and I will answer. Ignorance, and perhaps they do not remember or care. It is of no consequence to me or to them. Am I? Then perhaps you should know there are techniques in the Force where one can cloud the memory of others, make their presence so small as to be unnoticed. And on the worlds where we have encountered these Jedi, there is much life and death where sensing such things is difficult. As I said, it is of no consequence to me or to them. No, but if I did, you would never know. So my words only carry as much worth as you believe them to. But perhaps you will understand this, that perhaps it is important to me that you see me and my actions uncloaked. It is important that your judgments, whether be good or bad, stem from seeing me as I truly am. Then you are learning quickly. Distrust is an effective shield and should be carried always. Ask, and I will answer. I know of them, yes, and how much like beasts they had become. Combined, united against the Jedi, they command legions of Sith. But above these legions there are 3 who must be stopped. As long as any one of them lives, then we, and all life, are doomed. One bathes in pain, feeds on it for sustenance. The other has ceased being a living being, so consumed by hunger that he has forgotten his own flesh. And the last is a creature of betrayals, for without such things there is no hope. Even now she is difficult to see. She must remain hidden for now until the time is right. If not, then all our efforts will be for nothing. In this you must trust me. If she is exposed too soon, then this war will be over before it has begun. Yes, of pain he has learned much. Of knowledge, of teaching, he knows nothing. Like the others, he was spawned by the horrors of the Mandalorian Wars. He exists solely to spread his pain to all Jedi everywhere. He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the Dark Lords that pursues you. I do not think he knows what you are. Not yet. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists within him. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her, and perhaps a reason that she survived when the rest of her people and the Jedi did not. Ask, and I will answer.
have studied the holorecord of your trial. I am unsure what to make of it. I must confess that I was searching for some meaning beyond the records, a reason for why one would leave the Order. Yes, but exile is rare, and I have found it is not really something that the Order can enforce. Believe it or not, it was really your choice. I don't think so. Perhaps some of them felt strongly about your sentence, but I think something else concerned them. Again, the choice to turn away was yours, not theirs. I imagine in your travels of the galaxy you've seen many people. Faces tend to blur together after a time. Very well. What is it you wish to know? I am an historian and scientist working for the Republic. Although I'm certain my contemporaries would judge me more a historian than scientist. I have some training in the medical arts, if you are ever in need of healing as well. But my chief passion is history. I came to Dantooine in the hopes of finding some trace of the Jedi, but you know how my explorations turned out. Instead, it seems a Jedi came to me, just in time. Not much remains of the Jedi. I'm trying to find what little does remain. There are so many histories, relics, holocrons that speak of their teachings and their code. I fear that unless someone makes an effort to find and keep them, they will be lost forever. It is a private reason, but it is important. I do not like to see knowledge lost, and unless steps are taken, the Jedi teachings will suffer this fate. Very well. What is it you wish to know? Yes, I had been trained by some of the best researchers in the Republic, which is a humbling experience, let me tell you. But if you ever need some medical items broken down or constructed, let me know. Yes? Is something wrong? At times, I meditate, simply close my eyes and listen. It is quite calming. I try to treasure these moments before the next crisis begins. Of course, it would be my pleasure. I try to treasure these moments before the next crisis begins. Yes? Is something wrong? Very well. Let me see if I can treat your wounds. There, that should do it. Do you need anything else? You have no wounds that I can see, although the matter of your spirit is something you should address. Very well. What is it you wish to know? Like you, I was looking for some trace of the Jedi. I had heard mention that one of the Jedi Masters had gone there, but I found no trace of them. The other reason was the ruins of the Jedi Enclave, and once I arrived, I felt it was necessary to stay, to protect what was left. Much had been taken from the Enclave, both by raiders and others. I wished to preserve what I could. Many artifacts were taken from the Enclave, but these thefts, they had to have been done by someone who knew the Enclave well. I suspect the Jedi themselves took the holocrons and records, but I do not know why. Someone has been taking holocrons from sites across the galaxy. It was almost as if someone does not want their knowledge used to find the Jedi. The situation on Dantooine is echoed in other places in the galaxy. Raiders, smugglers, all seek to plunder what remains of the Jedi, and even the Sith. More so than the Jedi themselves, I fear the loss of their history. Much has been forgotten in recent wars, and I fear that greater troubles shall stem from that loss of knowledge in the future. The destruction of the Academy on Ossus near the Kron Drift in the Sith War, the teachings of Master Arca, the adventures of Jolee Bindo on the Rimward missions, all of these things are in danger of being lost forever. Very well. What is it you wish to know? No. It is something of a mystery why they would exile themselves as they have. It is not the way of the Jedi to vanish in such a way, especially when the Republic is in need of them. I fear that there is something else at work, something that we cannot see. Then again, perhaps the Jedi are hiding simply because so many people hate them these days. It is difficult sometimes for the Jedi to see such things, since much of it is rooted in human nature, and the Jedi are often removed from events of daily life, insulated. But the reason the Jedi Civil War was named such was because few in the galaxy can recognize the difference between the Sith and the Jedi. To them, they are both Jedi, with different philosophies. Hate? No. I do not hate them. They only raise questions without answers. Jedi are not supposed to be like the rest of us. They are supposed to see a higher purpose in all things, and they are supposed to train students responsibly and well so mistakes of the past are not repeated. Yet all I saw was ignorance and arrogance, and what those seeds created in the Republic. It is difficult to follow the Jedi Code when so few others have. But you know this. The problems with the Jedi are my own. I do not wish to burden you with my troubles. Very well. What is it you wish to know? A Force bond? What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand. No. I thought I had heard mention of such connections in some of the holocrons, but I do not possess them. They are part of the holocrons that were taken from the Enclave. I do not know. I do not know who has taken them. If we were to find them, perhaps I could help you find the answers you need. I know some of what you speak. It is said that when a Jedi and Padawan establish a close connection, that they can feel each other across distances and coordinate their movements in battle. The intensity of the connection varies. That bonding is said to also be something that manifests itself in such techniques as Bastila's battle meditation, the ability to touch the minds of others, to demoralize or inspire them. It is also said that moments of death or near death may also cause such bonds. The stronger one is in the Force, the stronger the connection. I've never heard of a bond being lethal. I suppose such a thing is possible. I had not truly believed Bastila's battle meditation until I had seen it in action. Thoughts. Images, perhaps, but not actual communication in words. A bond often causes a sensation to be passed along it, such as extreme fear and pain. Still, I have seen Jedi who have the ability to communicate with aliens and beasts. It is a rare thing. Perhaps telepathy is one such talent. Very well. What is it you wish to know? I do not know if you are aware of how fragile the Republic is at the moment. Its influence is stretched thin, and it grows weaker with time. Still, there is hope, and I must remind myself of it, even when times grow dark. As long as we hold Onderon and Telos, then perhaps we have a chance. The Jedi Civil War brought much suffering to the galaxy, and the forces that Malak and Revan amassed against us seemed limitless. Many worlds were destroyed, trade routes disrupted, and the Republic fleet was almost decimated. It was almost the end. But at that last year, the year before Revan vanished, Revan's assault on the Republic stopped. No one knows why. But it was all that saved the Republic. The fleet the Sith had amassed was no more, and the remaining Sith turned on each other, destroying the Academy on Korriban. It did not matter. Revan had already won. The war was costly, and it shattered the Republic. In time, the Republic might recover, but if a threat strikes now, if certain key worlds are not held, then the Republic will collapse. That is my thought. The Republic is not without its flaws, but it is preferable to anarchy. Without supply lines and a standing military, the chaos that would result would be greater than the Mandalorian Wars. There are many factors. Aside from protecting Telos and Onderon, we need a rallying force. We need the Jedi, even if they are just figureheads. That is why I traveled to Dantooine, to find some trace of them. The Jedi are a symbol. As much damage as their reputation took during the Sith War and the Jedi Civil War, there are still many who they serve as an example. Plus, there have been times in the past where a single Jedi has been enough to change the face of a world, or a galaxy. I suppose I still believe that might be possible. Despite the betrayal of many of the Jedi against the Republic, I must concede that as figureheads, they do serve a vital role. Dantooine was one of the few Republic worlds on the Outer Rim. It is why the Republic is attempting to get the settlement up and running. Dantooine is within reach of several other Rim worlds, and the Republic will need it as a resupply post if they are to keep a presence on the Rim. The Republic is fragile right now. Telos is important because its success will determine whether or not the other dead worlds receive the same reconstruction efforts. If Telos is rebuilt and made habitable again, it will affect a string of worlds along the Rim. Onderon, strangely enough, was unaffected by the Jedi Civil War. It's almost as if Revan didn't want to attack it. Its resources and position on the Rim make it a vital supply line and guard post against Outer Rim attacks. Also, it's the only world in the Republic still capable of seeding ecosystems into other dead worlds. Onderon's wildlife is some of the most aggressive in the known galaxy. Merely placing some of those beasts on target worlds will guarantee their habitation for years to come. Yes? Is something wrong? Very well. What is it you wish to know? Not much remains of the Jedi. I'm trying to find what little does remain. There are so many histories, relics, holocrons that speak of their teachings and their code. I fear that unless someone makes an effort to find and keep them, they will be lost forever. Because I fear that unless the Jedi teachings are preserved, we will lose the galaxy. And because, whatever my feelings for the Order, they do not extend to preserving their knowledge. No, not their lore, their histories, but their masters, their teachers, perhaps. I have tried to keep an open mind about their practices, but I have seen the Republic scarred too many times by their students. That is a truth I cannot deny. It is sometimes difficult to see that side as I walked upon Dantooine, but I will consider what you have said. There is another side to their efforts and their teaching that I sometimes forget. I'm trying to save the Republic. Dantooine and the Jedi Order are instrumental to that effort. Despite the troubles of the Jedi Civil War, there are those among the Republic who still favor the Jedi and wish them to return. And there are admirals within the fleet who recognize that the Jedi must be found if the Republic is to hold together. Yet as long as Onderon remains within the Republic, and the efforts on Telos succeed, that is all that matters.
Very well. What is it you wish to know?
The problems with the Jedi are my own. I do not wish to burden you with my troubles.
Very well. What is it you wish to know?
You are correct. I am afraid I have not been entirely open with you concerning my past. If I look familiar, it is because we have met before, at the Enclave on Dantooine, many years ago. As on Coruscant, Force-sensitive children are taken to Dantooine as well, though it is done rarely and only with those they believe are destined to become Jedi Knights. It is the secret nature of the place. If you are not chosen by a master when you have come of age, however, then the path of the Jedi is denied to you. I met you on Dantooine, long ago, briefly. You taught us how to move within the Force and see it flow within others. How to see it in the behaviors of others and use that sight to achieve truth. It is difficult to explain the difference between you and Master Vrook, but I think it is because he was knowledgeable, but not a leader, not a mentor. You were different. We could all feel it. And I knew that if I were to have a master, I would want it to be you. And then you went to war. Many Jedi went to war, and the Jedi Masters proclaimed that you were Jedi no longer. Atris, the mistress of the Archives, was first among them. I knew at that moment that if you would no longer be a Jedi, then you must be correct. I realized I did not want to be a Jedi. Instead, I wished to follow your path, and in any event, there was no one to train me, even if I wished it. They all went to war as I grew past the age of acceptance. It is possible to forget the Force, you know. If you have not felt it strongly enough, then there is little to miss. But I never felt the Force as strongly as I did when I was with you. And so I decided to serve the Republic, study the Jedi teachings, gather them perhaps. It was important to me to understand the Jedi now that they were gone. I felt some part of you should be preserved, so that your lessons would not be lost. Perhaps. I still harbor doubts about the path I walked. I am on a diplomatic mission. I am one of several tasked with attempting to contact any remaining Jedi and convince them to return to the Republic. I know something of the Jedi. I have studied them for a good portion of my life, and now that they are gone, such studies are even more important. I do not think it is a matter of luck or chance, only my own inability to find them. While the Enclave trained me for many things, I am afraid that the life of a bounty hunter was not among them. I suspect my turning away from the Force is also a hindrance in such cases. I imagine the Jedi would be easier to find if I still maintained my connections to the Force. You have? Where have they gone? And why? Like you? Curious. It is unlike the Jedi to vanish when the Republic is in need of them, and the Republic is more in need of them now than ever. Discerning the reasons for why the Jedi do as they do is indeed confusing, but there must be some reason. What was that? Do you know? Perhaps the Sith have learned from Malak's defeat and have chosen a different tactic. It is like them to strike from the shadows. This has Revan's mark on things. Though gone from the galaxy, perhaps something of Revan's teachings remain. Yes. I do not know if you heard of the civil war on Korriban, but it was caused by Revan's absence. From what I have been able to determine, a year after the battle with the Republic fleet that almost wiped the Republic out, Revan simply left. When Revan did not return, the factions among the Sith turned on each other, as all those that follow the Sith do in time. That is a question I have found no answer to, but it must have been important for Revan to leave as he did. He did nothing lightly, and his plans often could not have been felt for months or even years after he did them.
Very well. What is it you wish to know?
Many Jedi went to go fight in the Mandalorian Wars, and few returned. To their disciples left behind on Dantooine, on Coruscant, there were few masters to train them. I was one such student. Perhaps not as strong in the Force as the others, but it really did not matter. The teachers left behind were few. Only a few students were accepted as the Mandalorian Wars raged on, and when I came of age, there were no masters left to train me. So I was forced to leave the Order, to seek my path elsewhere. It was for the best, I think. I had begun to have doubts, and I think the masters were aware of them. Never. I have seen you, traveled with you. My life was mine, not chained to yours. Your apologies are not needed or warranted. I chose not to follow the Jedi, and the choice was my own. I think you are right. It is time. I have watched you. You have become strong in the Force again. But that is not all. You have achieved a center in the chaos around us. I have felt it, my master. The one intended for me, left to fight in the Mandalorian Wars. Now she has returned. And I ask her now if she will train me in the ways of the Force. I have thought about what you have said about the Jedi Order. You were correct. It was a truth I did not want to face. While I do not believe the Jedi to be evil, I feel perhaps that they are misguided. It is hard to protect the galaxy when you are removed from it and its people. The Mandalorian Wars. I understand why the Jedi hesitated. But at the same time, I wonder if they had joined Revan united, if perhaps the Jedi Civil War would never have happened. It is very easy to blame Revan and Malak, yet the Jedi Council was equally to blame. I believe that there is very little truth that can be found within the conference room on Coruscant. The galaxy needs strength now. If the Jedi will not come forth and fight this threat, then we must. And if that strength comes from the dark side, then that is what we must accept. I ask that you train me in the ways of the Force, to teach me the ways of power so that a greater stability may be achieved. I do not believe in the Jedi and the Sith. I believe in strength. And that is what the galaxy needs now.